Fortunately or unfortunately, my kind of disability is not something I've been born with. It's something I got it along the way.
Yeah.
And I remember at some point, especially my dad, would tell me try and put on long sleeved because when you walk, you look, to be polite, different.
Yeah.
All right. And to him, he was feeling embarrassed that he's walking around with his son who has some sort of deformity. Persons living with disability, majority of them, because I mingled with them, they are bright. Upstairs, very bright, extremely bright. And if given an opportunity, they can make changes in a tremendous way, not only locally, but also internationally. But they need to be given that opportunity.
Yeah.
And these opportunities, you are not just handed over in a silver platter. You have to work for it. You have to fight for it. And one of the ways of fighting any war is building confidence within yourself. The same way you used to say, if whatever a man can do, a woman can do better. This one I would say, whatever men can do, we persons living with disability can do thrice better than them. Yeah. So the point is that we should embrace one another. We should embrace, despite we may not be at par, defined by the perspective of the world, by for instance in education, or exposure. But then once we embrace each other, we create a better nation, not only for ourselves, but even for the future generation.
Absolutely.
What I'm trying to fight for in personality, together with my team and being a member of persons with disability, is to try and build esteem amidst people with disability.
Yeah.
We have had issues whereby they have very low self-esteem, and some of them, they're even demoralized and shortchanged. Some of them, they even put in closed doors, not to see the light of the day.
Yeah.
Why? Because maybe the parents are ashamed of their kid, the way they look. They look like that, they look different from the normal person that we know.
Or they can normal would many people in the disability space would argue then to what threshold is normal. Then probably would say what is the better word that we can even use. Because sometimes in this space, particularly the disability space, language is not our friend. And language that describes persons with disabilities. If even we go back to our local languages, like mtu mwenye akona disability kwa Kiswahili anaitwaje? Hayo majina huwezi taka kutamka.
Naibu.
And even when we go to the now local languages, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago we were in Mombasa, and we were talking to a lady with albinism who is Giriama, and she was telling us how they are called in that local language. Definitely it will weigh down on one's self-esteem.
True.
Before you tell us who you are, because definitely they don't know who you are. For me, they know I am Alan Hubbard. But why self-esteem? Is this something that you yourself, from a personal perspective, has grappled with, and you're like, okay, I managed to beat it, now I must try and extend this to other persons with disabilities?
I've had a personal encounter with such a situation. Fortunately or unfortunately, my kind of disability is not something I've been born with. It's something I got it along the way. And I remember at some point, especially my dad, will tell me try and put on long sleeved because when you walk, you look, to be polite, different.
Yeah.
All right. And to him, he was feeling embarrassed that he's walking around with his son who has some sort of deformity. And this really traumatized me for a long time.
Yeah.
To a point, even when I'll get to class, I'll be observant to see if people
Are really looking at your
are
hand.
keen on me or looking at my arm. And any comment that will be suggestive and inclined to what to the way I look like, it will really weigh me down terribly. To a point, it will even affect my studies or my performance. So, with time, I built courage within myself. I didn't have anyone who really came and built courage on me. I had to build it by myself because this is who I am. I need to accept myself that this is how I am. And that's how I'll live to be for the rest of my life. And it doesn't limit me from achieving the goals in life that I ought to achieve. So I started speaking to myself.
Yeah.
Calling myself, I'm the best. I'm a big guy. I am an entrepreneur. I'm a philanthropist.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make it in this life. I have to. If so and so can make it, I can also make it. So I even embrace that attitude of forgetting that I'm deformed. All right, and embraced the mentality of I'm just like any other person next to me. Okay, and with time, it was like a wage of war between me and my parents. And my parents were like, I think you're grown up, so it's up to you. But the other day, I saw that my father was so proud of me after he realized that whatever he was feeling embarrassed about can bring him something very good, duty-free, and enjoy in his retirement. The same thing that he was feeling embarrassed about.
Yeah.
And it really even gave me more encouragement because I noticed persons living with disability, majority of them, because I mingled with them, they are bright. Upstairs, very bright, extremely bright. And if given an opportunity, they can make changes in a tremendous way. Not only locally, but also internationally. But they need to be given that opportunity.
Yeah.
And these opportunities, you are not just handed over in a silver platter. You have to work for it. You have to fight for it. And one of the ways of fighting any war is building confidence within yourself. So with that, I resorted to say, you know what? In my small mindset, in my small way, in my little experience, I should work on building the confidence to the people who are living with disability, because I know that is a good base for them now to grow over and do tremendous. Yeah.
Who are we speaking to this beautiful day?
Wow. It is really chilly.
The Canairo weather. Yeah.
I'm not used to this weather because I live in Mombasa anyway.
Yeah.
So
I saw a meme from Mombasa, somebody walking, but they are drenching in sweat.
yeah.
We were with my team in Mombasa and we're like, oh my goodness. Everybody was just soaked in sweat or water.
Yeah. And lucky for you, you may have not come during the month of February when it's extremely hot.
Yeah.
My name's Samuel Kimathi Murithi. I hail from Mombasa, but I've been born and bred in Meru.
Yeah.
Meru County, constituency called Tigania West. Tigania West, where John Kanyuethia Mutunga is a member of parliament.
Yeah.
All right, our representative. And not living far from the Mary University, where it is actually situated.
Yeah.
I'm a doctor, stroke an engineer. Yeah, you can now imagine the war I've passed through to get to that point. But then I would say that it was worth the fight. But I don't have to stand to see my brothers and sisters go through the same thing they went through, and yet we can create an easier channel for them to even go overboard or to even be greater than where we are today. Yeah.
You know, there is something descriptive or sort of descriptive that you shared there. You said there is an easier way, and I hope that once we are done with this conversation, would have identified that easy way.
You know, yeah.
Paint a picture for us before the disability and after the disability.
Before the disability, I was still very young, because I remember I got my disability when I was barely 6 years. Okay. And prior to then, I may not have a lot about it. But I would say then I would feel in place with my friends, with my peer mates, neighbors, and all that. And, you know, there was that level of confidence. But after I got the disability, a lot changed. And that all began with from my inner circle, that is my family.
Yeah.
And that really affected me for many years before I realized or learned that this is who I am and this is what I ought to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a young lad then in primary school, because you said you sort of put up walls and you're very vigilant to hear if and see if anybody was alluding to your disability, you'll be ready to go up in arms. Did you ever fight because of your disability? Did you ever beat up somebody?
Unfortunately, yes.
Let's go.
Yeah, it was really I think this guy was really badging on me intentionally.
Yeah.
And he would call me names like kakono, you know, kamkono, so akono, and very weird names that were really irritating, you know. And I'm not used to be a bully, but and I've never been a bully.
Yeah.
But
sometimes a man get to fight. Yeah.
Yes. If you meet a bully, I would rather meet any other person with different character.
Yeah.
But I don't like a bully around me because, you know, the bullies, they are really untamed people in one or another.
Yeah.
But as Ken Rogers once said, sometimes to
be a man, you have to fight.
You have to fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had to fight for my position. Actually, that is the message I was trying to address to him.
Yeah.
For me, then it worked. Because from that time henceforth, he never called me names, and the guys around, they stopped.
Yeah, because you gained that respect.
Yes, I had to fight for that.
The tough way.
The tough way, which is not a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a good way.
Then I pick an interesting perspective from that. You fight for respect back at school and with your peers. Then how do you fight? Okay, definitely when we were young, who the hell to be respected in your father's house, but still that decency to be treated as a child and a part of a family still has to exist. Do you feel you had to fight for your position back home? Because many people with disabilities that I've spoken to, they were like, even at school, I did not have to fight because at home I was not given to it. I was not given that respect. So why did I even deserve the respect back at school? But you fought for respect back at school. At home, did you do anything about it?
At home, where we were living, the family setup that we used to have, because I've reschooled a lot of my life within an enclosed estate back in Mombasa.
Yeah.
So interacting with my family members, I was limited. So I was the kind of a kid whereby if you're not home, you are in school. If you're not in school, you're with your peer mates. And most of these peer mates, they are not your tribesmen. They are not even from your locality.
Yeah.
You have just merged on a cosmopolitanic setup.
Yeah.
So there's that kind of respect you get because, you know, you're not known well from your background.
Yeah.
So the only sham I used to get is specifically from my father, not even my mother as such. And I'm not a mama's boy when I'm saying that. In fact, I'm a daddy's boy. But then my dad, because of that closeness, he would just open up and sometimes tell me, no. So I would see him. We would walk into a shopping center to buy me clothes. And most of my clothes when I was a kid, they were all long sleeved. Yet my brother used to get short sleeved. Why? Because he would feel embarrassed of the way my arm looked like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A question. As your father did that, when you look at it right now, yeah, and the amount of knowledge and awareness that you've been able to garner, was he doing it to protect you, or was he doing it to protect himself?
He was doing it to protect himself, obviously.
Why? Because you would argue, from a different perspective, that I do not want anybody to look any different at my son. Yes, there is a correlation in how he's also looked at, but you could also argue that he was doing it entirely for you.
I will argue my point in this manner that when he wasn't around, because he used to travel a lot,
Yeah.
I'll sneak out with my short sleeved and interact with people, both in church
Yeah.
and in public gatherings. And I wouldn't face any sort of reluctancy from people or any kind of discrimination or any kind of bad talk.
Yeah.
So the way I've known him, he did all that because he was not really exposed. And you know, during those days, there was theirs. The best they could have done is by going up to Form 4. Form 6, you are lucky. All right? Then those back in 80s, you know.
Yeah.
And as we approach the millennium, I'm the same guy. After fighting for my position in the family,
Yeah.
I fought for him to go to school. And believe me, it was not easy. Why? Because I looked in a situation whereby as we age, we gain more knowledge through the education we are getting. And the reason as to why it's very easy for an educated person to embrace the changes is because of the exposure that comes with books and education in general.
Yeah.
And with him, definitely because he doesn't have that, tendency are he will be rigid to changes. And with time, that change will have to force him. And if it forces him, it can cause a lot of displeasure within the family setup. And I foresaw that one time I would have children who will be his grandchildren. And they will be well educated. Now you can imagine a situation whereby you visit your grandparents in a modern world.
Yeah.
And you have fights because of things that would have been solved amicably through a closed door discussion, you know?
Yeah.
So I really fought for him to go to school. Luckily, he had me. And from then, I would say right now, he's even pursuing his master's. And we are seeing a different father. Different because whenever we have a sitting, whatever we discuss as elite people, and will not have any fights within our family. And in fact, he's the one who told me the other day, I appreciate the way you accepted yourself, walking confidently, even campaigning, because I was campaigning in 2022, and they were like, wow, yeah, you're okay with the way you are. And you know, people embark on your confidence.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
High school, university, how do you go through that? Bado naitwa kakonokono ama sai wase ama sai wase wanakutii?
God gave me some sort of intelligence, because when I was in primary and I went to a boarding school, I used to perform very well. The least I would perform, I would be position 3 in my class. So most of the time I would be top 3, and that really, you know, carved off a lot of that. Then I was the only one, if I can remember, in my class that was from Mombasa. So I ended up being called a nickname called Mombasa. So Mombasa overshadowed
Everything.
for my primary setup.
Yeah.
When I got to high school, things changed differently in a positive way. And I was so much into teaching the word of God, preaching the word of God. So the nickname I was given is Pastor, which also helped until I had to finish my 4-4.
Yeah.
The university, you know, the life in the university. Yeah, everyone is independent. You do whatever you want.
Seems like you have so many stories to share on that one. Eh? Share the most craziest one.
Where? Where do you want me to share?
Au kula fees, wasichana.
The part of the girls, that's normal.
Yeah.
That one, it's part of life.
But it might not be normal, because when you look at it from that perspective, because what I'm getting from you right now, you are already self-aware and your disability is a non-issue. But when we extrapolate it to other persons with disabilities, this is where you would even go to your own cocoon, yeah, and say, sasa nimefika huku, sasa watu ndio wengi zaidi, watu wako na fujo, kiburi, nini. So for their sake, we cannot call it normal.
Okay.
Probably you could share some of your experiences, and they would also search in the positions that they are in right now and say, probably this is an experience that I would want to have as well. Now, fun fact, yeah. Oh my goodness, he's going to hate me for this. So I was talking to a friend. He works in one of our big organizations for persons with disabilities. And he was telling me, Alan, you know, I've never had a woman hit on me. Like, what do you mean you've never had a woman hit on? So he was finding it as a foreign experience. I'm like, these things happen on a day. Hii ni kama kunywa kahawa asubuhi. And it's like, yeah, so this is why I'm pushing you to share, so that they might be amazed and say, there is this other side to life.
The little knowledge I have about ladies, ladies appreciate men who have self-confidence and self-esteem.
With money these days as well.
Money is not really a priority, especially in college, even outside. It's not really a priority, because I've seen guys with money.
Yeah,
they flash off money, but women are very smart. They can tell that you have a low self-esteem,
so you're
but
compensating
you're compensating it with the way
money.
you're flashing money. So you realize later on, a lady will stay with you for the inconvenience purposes. You continue flashing money to her, but not end up with you, because women not only focus on provision, but they also focus on security. What type of a man will she have with? Because they know themselves that sometimes they can be crazy as they evolve. And they need a man who can be in a position to tame them where it needs to be taming, and someone who can guide them where it needs guidance, and a man who can stand in his position where it is required. So you will see a lady who was dating a very rich coon somewhere, and ending up with someone who is not even well off in terms of finances, but because of the self-confidence and the way he knows how to organize himself and do stuff, he ends up accepting hand in marriage to that guy. So sisi huwa tunaingizanga wasichana box, ni wao wanakubalingi kuingia box.
Oh, that's a lot of power you're giving them this particular day. They'll be like, simshaambiwa sasa, hata wacha kunifukuza, nikitaka nitaingia.
Yeah, nikitaka nitaingia. But it all depends on that.
Yeah.
The money is not a priority to them. The women I've interacted with and the ones I've dated back in college,
yeah,
is I noticed I had to learn the hard way. And
which are some of these hard knocks?
One of the knocks is when I go to college in the first year, I was not confident in myself.
Yeah.
So I wonder, someone who even has a smaller body than me, who is not even a good performer, we go for student bashes,
Yeah.
those that come with first years. And the same night, man, the guy is getting a very good kiss somewhere.
And you're like, you guy, my guy.
And I was like, you guy, my guy. To a point, I was exiled by my fellow Form 1 in a hostel that we were living in. I should excuse him. He needs to talk to his lady.
Umeenda exile?
Yes, umepigwa exile si mara moja bwana.
You all have seen Dusty Kanairo.
Kanairo achana nayo. Yeah, it was crazy in JQuad. By then JQuad, we had very few ladies.
Yeah.
And mostly were men back in 2007.
Those days.
Mid-2000.
Yeah.
And because, it was offering mostly the engineering courses. And
by that particular time, women had not taken so much the STEM courses.
Precisely, yes. And so by the fact that ladies were few, you can
so
imagine.
Demand was high, supply was low.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're not a Shaka Zulu,
if you're not good,
you are left behind.
Yeah, I just don't want to be vulgar. So, yeah.
Okay. I understand. A gentleman that I hosted here, he told me that, Alan, persons with disabilities are subjected to special schools, yeah? But there are no special universities and there are no special jobs. For your case, once you finished university and started hitting the road, how was it for you?
It was difficult. It was seriously difficult.
And to make matters worse, engineering, you need hands-on.
I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I ended up giving up being employed.
All right.
After really hustling, even getting an intern, it was a problem because the Hindus of then, they would subject we young lads from the university into hard labor in the name of internship.
Yeah.
They don't care whether you'll gain any skill, but they want to use you as a tool.
That's where you're supposed to begin.
Exactly. And in my case, I ended up giving up being employed. And I remember it was really a painful moment.
Yeah.
You'll trek with one pair of shoe, paka inaisha Kisigino. You knock in this door, they tell you no. They see your papers are good, but the moment they see your physique, you're out. You're out completely. And it was not easy. That's why you find even most of the institutions and even churches, they don't even have ramps that will embrace people living with disability. The toilets themselves, they don't have, there are people who need help.
Yeah.
All right. You go to even in our own homes, we don't create that serenity for people with disability. So in my case, I gave up.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? I'm going to pursue this life on a self-employment basis. And when I embraced that ideology, it was not easy the first time, but eventually it really paid.
Yeah.
Because right now, even what we started with our team, we started a school whereby we do training specifically. Majority are persons with living with disability by giving them the basic skills, the TVEC skills,
Yeah.
So that not to be employed,
Yeah.
but to be self-employed and eventually employ others. And looking forward, one time, if all goes well and I get into parliament, I'll really push for a policy whereby it will be compulsory for any institution, any kind
Yeah.
of institution. We just make sure that PWD's requirements are put in place. Yes.
You alluded to when we make persons with disabilities self-esteem go high, then we will make life easier for them.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that statement?
What I mean by that statement, in this life, if you want to make it in life, it all starts with your mind. If you embrace positivity, you get positive results. You embrace negativity, definitely you get the negative results.
Yeah.
So it all starts with the mind. If I can't be able to convince my mind that I'm capable of achieving this or that,
Yeah.
even without the resources seen by then, it will give you the empowerment of now pursuing that course to look for resources so that you can actualize whatever you're dreaming or whatever you want to be in life.
Yeah.
So I said, this is a department that psychiatrists have not really embraced. You go to most of psychiatrists, they don't have enough knowledge, like the way I saw back in Australia or in China or in the UK. They have psychiatrists for persons with living with disability, and they all start with the mind. How should I make sure that you embrace and accept the way you are?
Yeah.
That you are best, and you live like that, and you can make it like that.
But do we really need to prove a point that we are worth it? If you think so hard about it, can't I just be Alan with a disability and just go on with my life, go through school, study, get a wife, nikiweza kukatiana, and life continues? Do we really need to be outstanding?
For me, it depends on the circumstances. Because, like, for example, when there was introduction of HIV in our society back in late 70s, it came with a different perception that anyone who is diagnosed with HIV is an immoral person.
Yeah.
But we later on learned that that's not the only way to get HIV/AIDS. There are so many other ways, as long as there's blood transfusion, or blood transfusion from one partner to another who is infected and who is not infected, whether by needles or by whichever it is, or even sharing toothbrushes and the rest, you will eventually get that disease or you'll get that virus. So the society we are living in is like the one that we used to have then, whereby anyone with HIV, it was trauma. And you'll want to hide, not to be known. So when you die kimamen, kigangari.
Unakufa kimoyo moyo.
Kinakufa kimoyo moyo. That's the word.
Yeah.
That's the correct word. And we lost a lot of beloved people because of that. So it's the same thing that's happening today. You see someone marrying a wife. She looks good. He looks good. The melanin is okay. But the byproduct turns out to be albino. When it turns out to be albino, there are societies I know, when you are born an albino, you can easily be killed within Kenya. I'm not even talking outside Kenya. There are societies whereby if it's investigated and the genetics source of all this comes from the woman anatengwa na anaachwa. If it comes from a man, pia wewe unatengwa and you are regarded as a weak man. That kind of trauma really affects the society we are living today. And that's why we have to fight for our position. And we need to look that we are okay the way we are and we can do all things. The same way we used to say, if whatever a man can do, a woman can do better. This one I would say, whatever men can do, we persons living with disability can do thrice better than them. Yeah.
Are we setting ourselves up for competition?
We are living in a competitive world. Why not? We don't have a choice, do we?
Absolutely not. We have to do this thing called life.
Yes.
So if that's what we're dealt, then we have to make lemonade.
Yeah. Exactly. Precisely. Yes.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. 2022, you said you were campaigning.
Yeah.
Where did the urge came from, and what exactly were you campaigning for?
The urge came from I felt in myself there is a gap in leadership back in my community.
Yeah. This is Mombasa or Meru?
Meru.
Yeah.
In Tigania West. A ward called Nkomo. And I saw the way people were being treated, and due to lack of knowledge and exposure, they were being taken for granted. And I say now, we need to fight for our rights. But the only way to fight for your right is not by fighting who is the leader, because you'll all both look dirty. So we have to fight it in an intellectual way. And the only way I saw is I try and embrace a competitive arena. You come in, I come in. And I was blessed to to get a party ticket with the United Democratic Alliance by then. And it was my very first time to engage in politics. First. I was so green in that area. But then I had one mentality, because I was really trying to even help people by doing communal work. We embrace one another. We build bridges where they are required. We would even do some construction. We will sponsor some kids whom their parents have been secluded by the society and they cannot go to school. Some of them staying in the houses because of their deformities, and they cannot, and yet we have an institution within our locality. So these are some of the things that I had already begun to embrace even prior to the campaign. And I saw it is important and much easier if I got leadership position, and I'll use that leadership for the benefit of the people and to at least bring up the people. So I went for a member of county assembly position. Yeah.
How was the ground? Because definitely you are with a popular party, but how did the ground turn out?
By God's grace, I thank God, I was really embraced positively by the majority of people.
Yeah.
And the result of the general election, in as much as I lost by a margin of 8 votes from the same sitting who has been there, I would say the love of people for new leadership and better life, it really pumps in their blood to this date. And I'm looking forward for one day that I'll make it a realization that they ought to deserve that.
You will go back at it.
Definitely I'll have to. Definitely I'll have to.
When we talk about picking back to the conversation on self-esteem and empowering persons with disabilities, we know the problem, but now I want us to focus on the how. How, from a Kimethi perspective, how are you looking to achieve this self-esteem, awareness, and understanding and acceptance? How are you looking to pump this into persons with disabilities?
It's simple at the same time it's not simple. Why I'm saying it's simple is that we have channels to reach out to them.
Yeah.
And remember, persons living with disability, their position, the majority of them, they are needy. So if someone is needy and you approach them with help, it's very easy for them to accept that help. And one of the ways of doing it is now by trying to show them the sense in building their self-confidence. And some of the ways we have embraced as a team, we see it that we need to engage them majorly in extracurricular activities. And in the midst of these extracurricular activities, we need to bring leadership on board. That person with disability, some of them, in as much as they were willing to vote, they could not be able to vote. And their vote counts. Some of them, they were shy. If they went out and they are seeing this is the way they turned out to be after the many years by the society, how will they be taken to? But how would it feel if they heard that they elected Mr. Allen as a member of parliament to represent us as a person with disability, and he's here to see us in a common ground, playing volleyball together, playing football together, playing hockey together, all right? Winning cups, winning money, getting some clothes, getting some crutches, getting some wheelchairs, all right? Being empowered by being trained to do stuff for themselves by their leader. It's not something that they watch on TV. Here you are with us. This is who we are, and this is how we ought to be. You can imagine the kind of confidence they begin to embrace by that. Or imagine a situation whereby you have an exercise that is involving the environmental impact. All right? And we have the executive in our midst for that activity. And when I mean executive, I'm talking about the president or the first lady or the deputy president with her second lady, with her first lady. We are talking of even the legislature coming on board, some of the member of parliament, some of them who are also in the same category that we are. Also, we can even have the judiciary on board. So when we are gathered together, not in big groups like nationally, we trickle down to even the constituency level, ward level. We gather all the wards and we put them in one constituency. We have an activity like once per month or once per quarter of an year, and we do a random activity together and they see us doing it together. How much confidence do we impart in these people? That's the question. And tell me, if you tell them this is who we are and this is what we need to do, will they despite or dispute what you're saying? Yeah.
They will have to buy.
They'll have to buy.
Or go home dry.
You feel me now. But there is no choice of going home dry.
Yeah.
Because I know they will buy it, and they'll buy it totally. And this is the way we need to go now.
Yeah.
We really need to campaign for our people. We need to campaign for our nation. We need to campaign for ourselves. Yes.
How much money does a person need to become a philanthropist?
No limitation.
Because
you can have as low as 10 shillings.
Yeah.
And as high as billions or trillions.
Yeah.
But it's all about self-propelment or self-initiative. Are you willing to? Are you passionate? Are you patient enough? Is this what you want? Is this what you feel satisfied doing? Are you content with that? The inner man, is it getting what it deserves?
Yeah. Interesting. Your closing remarks.
Thank you.
Short and sweet, yeah? Let me rephrase that question. To a person, to a person with a disability who is watching this right now, yeah, what do you want to be their takeaway from this conversation?
Jipende vile ulivyo. Love yourself the way you are.
Yeah.
And no one is going to hate you or beat you up or hate you for the way you are. Don't look down upon yourself. Accept the way you are.
Yeah.
Love the way you are. And forget about the perception or what people are going to say about you for who you are or the way you are.
Yeah.
And focus on what is important for yourself, for your family, for your people. That's the most important thing. Yeah.
And to somebody who can do something but they're not doing anything.
Man, I'll really encourage you to go outside there and do something for yourself. You don't have to have billions to start anything. You only need whatever you have, the strength you have. In fact, I really encourage the persons with disability on the streets who have 2 arms. Yes, your legs have a problem, but you have 2 strong arms. Go to these houses, ask for jobs. Hata kama ni ile ya mama wa kufua. Fua, earn yourself your 500 shillings or your 200 shillings, depending on how you're going to agree. Believe me, you have an opportunity of sympathy or being sympathized with. And take advantage of that. Let people sympathize with you by giving you jobs. And from those jobs, you get a living from it. That's a good start for yourselves. Yeah.
And now this is the last one, based off of what you've said.
Okay.
You know, sympathy most of the time is not going to push us all throughout. But to a particular degree, I agree with you that it can be a starting point.
Yeah.
When do we now flip it and say it's no longer about sympathy, it's about what I bring to the table?
I would say with all confidence, it's all about how you establish yourself. If you use that channel to get to a level, now establish yourself. And that's the way forward. I'll give you an example with a friend of mine who was really discriminated, literally, but not only her family, but even the society around. And to some extent, even the mother was chased away from home. And in his education, he really went through education with a lot of hardships, to a point even the teacher himself or the teachers were really looking down upon him. But what kept him going is the way he saw other kids excel in life. And he accepted himself the way he is. And one time he got a donor from somewhere who came and scrutinized his situation and sympathized with him. And out of sympathy, he was only asked one question: what do you want to be? The answer, he said, I want to be a surgeon. I want to be a doctor so that my family will not suffer. That my mom, my dad, my extended family, despite the fact that they discriminated him, they will come to his hospital and will be able to help. And I can tell you today, he's one of the doctors at Texas Cancer Center as we speak. I think I was.
I am imagining how far sympathy sometimes can take people.
Yeah. He only got sympathy once.
And he turned tables around.
He turned tables around. What do you want to be? A doctor. From there, go to school. We'll sponsor your whole education. And he went, despite the fact that people discriminated. He fought for his education because he has already obtained an opportunity. So he established himself from that opportunity. And how did it turn out? He gained respect in the society. Does he need sympathy anymore?
Absolutely none.
No. Correct.
Thank you for making the time.
Thank you so
And
much.
we hope to continue in such conversations, and also probably you would invite us to the school that you build, so that we can even get to talk to the students and hear what they have to say for themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.